Hey there, clarophiles and clarophilettes. In this video, we're going to answer a question. And the question is, what's the difference between the flute, trombone, trumpet, and triangle, and the clarinet? If you're interested in finding the answer and why it's important to know, hang on, because it's coming right up. Well, let's put an end to the mystery right now. The difference between all these instruments and the clarinet is that they're much more stable than the clarinet. The clarinet changes quite a bit from season to season. Humidity, and altitude, all kinds of things have a more profound influence on the clarinet than these other instruments. Well, if we can find out where the areas of instability and inconsistency are, then we can perhaps mitigate their influence or even eliminate them so the clarinet will play more consistently from day to day. Now, why do we want that? Well, let's look at an analogy. For instance, if you had a friend and every day you met them, they treated you differently and they acted differently, after a while you would get so frustrated that you would no longer even want to be around that friend because you have no idea how to act, what to say, or what to do. And it's the same way with the instrument. The instrument, the more consistent the instrument can be, the more consistently and dependably you can develop your own playing and your own skills, and the more you can depend on an instrument to deliver a really good technical performance for you, so you can sort of forget about the technique and concentrate on the artistry. The more you have to labor to control the instrument and its inconsistencies and variabilities, the slower you make progress and the more difficult making good artistic performance is. So if we can eliminate some of those areas of instability and inconsistency, then we can have an instrument we can be friends with day after day and have a lot of satisfaction and a lot of fun in playing the clarinet and do something beautiful in the world. As we know, most professional clarinet players play hard rubber mouthpieces, even if they play wood clarinets. Why do they play hard rubber mouthpieces? Do hard rubber mouthpieces sound better than wood? Well, not really, but they have one great advantage. They're much more stable than wood. Mouthpiece facings warp in wood mouthpieces very easily, and the bore, of course, and the chamber move around like an accordion, because wood is a living, breathing material. Well, we find much the same condition of the barrel, too. A wood barrel moves quite a bit. I remember when I was in Connecticut years ago, teaching and playing after I'd gotten out of Yale, I would measure my barrels from season to season, and the bores would move around just like Myron Florin's accordion. If you don't know who Myron Florin is, then you can look it up. Anyway, so one of the things that we can do to help stabilize the clarinet and make it play more consistently is to do with barrels what we did with mouthpieces. Instead of playing wood barrels, we play some other kind of material, like hard rubber. Hard rubber barrels are extremely stable. They sound beautifully, and they will give you very precise dimensions when they're machined. Much better than plastic barrels, which tend to be inconsistent in production, though they can be reamed to precision. But hard rubber will give you the best resonance. There are other materials too besides that, but I would recommend, if you want more stability and more consistency in playing the clarinet from day to day, I would say combine your hard rubber mouthpiece with a hard rubber barrel. That will give you your best, most consistent results. Not only can the barrel be, of course, pulled out and pushed in to adjust for tuning, what about resistance? Well, the barrel can affect resistance by its bore, of course, but not a lot of people know that the barrel can affect resistance by being put in different radial positions. For instance, let's say if I put a little dot on the barrel and I played it, and then I rotated the barrel, say around to 9 o'clock, and I played it again, and I rotated it to 6 o'clock and played it again, and rotated it to 3 and played it again. You know what I would find? In almost every case, I would find that the barrel would play very, very differently in those different positions. Once I find the best position, the best radial position for that barrel, then I mark it there on the clarinet, say put a dot on the upper joint and a dot on the barrel, and line that dot up every time I put the clarinet together, I would have a clarinet that would play much more consistently. So that's one really good thing that you can do to eliminate inconsistency. Just randomly putting the barrel on in any position will cause the barrel to play differently from day to day. And why is that? Well, it's because that the bore of the barrel and the bore of the clarinet are not completely concentric. There's aconcentricity there. Try to say that. There's aconcentricity there. And as you put the barrel in different radial positions, you'll find that the edges of the barrel are going to overhang different parts of the bore of the rest of the clarinet. And those subtle differences cause sometimes actually remarkable differences in the way the clarinet blows, and its freedom and its flexibility and its responsiveness. Well, the same can be said of the bell as we've just spoken about regarding the barrel. If you put the bell in different radial positions, you'll find that it makes the right hand blow freer and blow more responsive. Other positions, the right hand's not going to play as well. And that's very important, especially because the bell B and the long pipe notes in the right-hand clarion are not always the most responsive, resonant, and flexible tones on the clarinet. So the more freedom that we can get in those long pipe pitches, the better. And one of the things that can really help that is the radial position of the bell. And another thing that a lot of people don't know is that you can actually pull the bell about 1 millimeter away from the right-hand joint, and you'll be surprised how much freer and how much more clarity you'll find, how much freer the bell B will play especially, and how much more clarity and resonance you'll get out of the right hand. So be consistent about how you put the barrel on, and be consistent about how you put the bell on, and that will improve the resonance and the freedom and flexibility, and also the evenness when you're going from register to register and long pipe to short pipe. One of the most important things about the clarinet is to keep it in good repair condition. I should probably have mentioned this first off. Let me give you an example here, a juxtaposition, so to speak, comparing the oboe to the clarinet. The oboe is an instrument that if there are leaks in the oboe, it'll just stop playing until you get it fixed. It just won't respond and won't play. But the clarinet, on the other hand, is an instrument that will play in a variety of states of disrepair. And why that's bad is because as the clarinet declines in its repair condition, you begin to adjust behind your nose and do things you shouldn't have to do in order to play the clarinet. And this causes you to develop bad habits. Now, that's not good. So make sure that your clarinet stays in good condition. Especially, the upper joint. The pads really need to seal really well up there. A lot of people think that when they have trouble, say, playing notes, getting notes to respond in the right hand in the long pipe notes, they think that there's some kind of problem down there. But usually it's because there's leakage up in the upper joint. And that will cause the low notes in the right hand to play stuffy and to play with resistance, and also to be uneven and more resistant when you're playing over the middle break. Very, very important to have those pads seal so the clarinet will play evenly from hand to hand and over the different registers. Keep the clarinet in good repair condition. Very, very essential. Finally, as we all know from sad experience, The biggest problem with playing the clarinet with consistency from day to day is the reed itself. Most of the reeds that you'll find in a box are very poorly balanced reeds. And, unless you're rich and you can buy one box after another to pick just a few out that actually play, most of us are going to have to learn how to balance reeds and test reeds for ourselves. And as a shameless plug, let me recommend my reed finishing system. If you don't have a reed finishing system, please look into that, because that alone will improve the consistency of the clarinet and stabilize the clarinet for you day after day more than any single thing. In combination with these other things, it's never going to be a flute, it's never going to be a trumpet, it's never going to interface with you with that perfect consistency that you find in a triangle, but it's going to be a lot better than playing the clarinet by assembling it in some random way and just struggling with the reeds that you have and that you find out of a box. So I hope these things will help you play the clarinet better. If you apply them, I'm sure that they will, for they're tried and true methods. And make sure that you get those well-balanced reeds on a well-made mouthpiece.